Good morning, everyone. We're going to do a quick one-handed phone kind of review here of the 400 genuine leather. It's a new version of kind of a real super basic binding from local church Bible publishers. So you have to forgive the one-handed nature of the phone here. First thing I want to do is look at, on the bottom here we have the church Bible publishers. This is the new red letter edition. In the middle, we have an older local church Bible Publishers 400. And at the top, we have the new 400 in the genuine leather binding. So you can just kind of see this text block looks thicker. I don't know if that's because the paper's thicker. I haven't really had time to get into it. The paper doesn't seem to be that much thicker, but I don't know. So like I said, I will do a good, thorough review of this coming up. This is just a real quickie review. But once again, showing so this was taken out of the box and placed on my kitchen counter, and it sat there until I unwrapped it. So the first thing to look at here is, how does the text block line up with the older version of the text? So let's grab it and we'll turn to so first off, the font is a little different. We'll see actually the font in this newer basic genuine leather binding is a darker font. It is a much darker font. It's very crisp and very nice. In the older Bible, it's significantly lighter. And it seems to be a tiny bit smaller. We'll do the same comparison against the church Bible publishers. Grab this guy here. And we'll see with these guys, we're actually getting pretty close. The font is still a tiny bit lighter in the church Bible publisher than it is in this new local church edition. So from a font perspective, in a crisp font, clean font, it's a winner. It really is. Just thumbing through it briefly, I haven't had time to do a whole big review. It seems to be very consistently printed, and that's a huge, huge plus for me, because it's one problem I see a lot with the church publishers, whether it's local church or even church Bible publishers, is inconsistency in their printing. Even this Bible here that I'm thumbing through now has some inconsistency in some of the red print, and that's kind of frustrating for me. So we've looked at the text itself to see kind of how it lines up there. The next thing we'll look at is the binding. So in the older church Bible, local church, this is a top grain cowhide, and I love this because this was also a leather lining, and it was super soft. And to be honest, and I'm going to be really honest here, I loved their top grains, and they're just genuine. Their regular cowhide and their top grains, I like them better than their iron calfskin. I just do. I mean, you can see the corner here on the local church, and then see the corner here on the old church Bible, and it's just that thicker leather. It comes down so much easier and nicer, and it's amazing. It really is. So, and it's just because the leather's thicker. It really has nothing to do with the manufacturer or anything like that. It's just thicker leather. And I do have this little wonky corner, which I've talked about numerous times, and I don't know why that bugs me so much, but it just does. This is the Church Bible Publishers Red Letter Edition, but it just, I don't know, that irritates me. But anyway, I know I'm being picky. The dust off there. So that's one thing to look at as well, because when we look at this new version, it's nothing like this. These are edge lined. They're fantastic. This one is not. It is a paste down. And this is a paste down in, they say a genuine leather, so it's obviously a pigskin. And this paste down is super thin. It is very thin. And one thing you're going to notice as we're going through this really quickly is this banged up corner. It was like that when I unwrapped it, and that translates throughout the entire text. And that's another very frustrating thing there. So that's not a manufacturing issue. That is simply it got banged up during shipping or something, and I'm going to be contacting them and see if I can get them to swap this out. Because when I'm done with these reviews on these new pigskin bindings, I plan on giving these away in some contest on my new YouTube channel. So I want to make sure that the people I give these to, they're not getting a banged up corner. But that's that. The paper in these Bibles, and I'm just going to go to all three here, and this is just a really quick thing here. You'll notice the paper here is much lighter in the old. It's much lighter in the old one. It's almost got that bluishy kind of tint to it that we've seen in a lot of Bibles. This paper is a whiter paper. Trying to see the thinness of this versus the thinness of this. This actually still feels a bit thinner to me in the old version. This feels to be a little bit thicker paper in this newer basic binding and this new cowhide. And in the church, that's definitely a thicker paper. There's no question. So the Church Bible Publishers has some thicker paper in theirs, and this is this is a bit of a thicker paper too. I don't know. They're really close in the church and in this edition. Definitely thinner paper in the older edition, no question. The binding itself, it is sewn. There's no question there. I mean, it lays flat. It's doing what it's supposed to do. The biggest gripe I have is really this binding. I know it's a low-end binding, but it is really, really thin. I mean, it is super, super thin. The only thing I had to compare it to is I have a bonded leather old Amplify Bible that I have. Well, let's say old. And it's so similar in the binding. It's so very similar in thickness, in the paste down itself. Just kind of showing you there. It's very, very similar in the binding. So much so that we know that pigskin is a step up from bonded leather, but I've seen some very good bonded leathers out there. Cambridge makes an actual fantastic bonded leather. I don't know. Personally, and this is just personally my opinion, I would not buy this. This is a pretty large Bible to have a binding like this, especially a Bible that I'm going to be taking notes in. I think I would want a Bible with a better binding. And also another reason is just to protect these pages. I've never received a Bible that was banged up like this and it trains like that to the pages. I never have. And I'm going to blame a little bit of that on the binding because the binding is so stiff. You can see where the crease has stayed. It's like it just got crinkled there, and the crease is still in there. It won't come out. Maybe I can work it out a little bit, but I really, it's there. On a Bible binding like this, I think it would have kind of melded with whatever happened there. We probably wouldn't have had a problem. Anyway, that's just a really basic kind of look at this guy. This is the new one from local church in that new pigskin binding, and there it is, guys.